Now, in the next, I will start unit number 2, but this is the last lecture in this unit number 1 of the software engineering. I am starting. There are only, I think, 3 students they join. So the debugging process, how we will debug our process here, our software program. So here the block diagram is given. Locate error. So in the first block diagram, locate error. First we will find out the error here. And after that, locating the error, there is a design error repair. Here we will repair the error in the design during the design phase. And again, overall repair. Here you can see repair error. So there is some sort of design error. Here we will repair. And then repair error. Again, we will repair overall errors here and then retest the program. So here we will again retest complete program, or we can say the software. So before testing the complete software, we will apply a number of testing methods. So we will debug the program at the unit level and at component level. So first we will test those different components or unit wise we will test, and after that at the end we will integrate all those units, and then we will check again finally after the integration of several units or the components. So final stage is called the acceptance testing. That is called the acceptance testing. That will be the final testing. So what is the software validation? So verification and validation is intended to show the a system conforms to its specification. So after each phase, we will do the verification and validation. Okay, because at each stage, we can find out some errors, or we can check whether we are working as per the requirement or as per the specification. So ultimately, we will check all those conditions whether we are following the specifications or not and meets the requirement of the system customer. So we will check the requirement of system customer at the end. Involves checking and review process and system testing. So after that, we will check and review different processes, and then we will do the system testing. System testing involves executing the system with test cases. So there are a number of test cases which will involve during the execution of the system that are derived from the specification of the real data to be processed by the system. So here we will use the real data as per requirement or as per specification. So if it is okay, then we can validate our software accordingly. But we will apply verification and validation at each phase. Now you can see verification and validation. So we will do the analysis. So during the analysis phase, under the analysis, there are few points: static, science, formal verification, informal reviews, and walkthroughs. So we will do a static analysis, and then we will check at point 2 our algorithm, okay, whether it is working properly or not, whatever we have designed. So we will check during the analysis phase, okay. And third one is the formal verification. Here we will do the verification at each phase here. So this is called the formal verification. Here we are not using the real data finally. And third one is informal reviews and walkthroughs. So here we will apply different type of reviews, okay, and walkthroughs. So again and again we will review our software here. There is no one-time testing, but we will test our software at each phase, or we can say at every stage, and review again and again. So there is a review committee before testing the software, and also uh, in the review meeting, we will finalize the uh, different type of review committees, and on which date we will review the software, and along with the different number of programmers. Okay, so number of designer or coders, uh, with the help of those, we will review the software at each stage. And finally, we will test the software. So under the testing, we can check the dynamic, whether the software designed by us is dynamic or not, working properly or not. Engineering, whether we are applying the different engineering techniques. Okay, our approach is systematic or not, whether we are following the protocols that was developed by the IEEE organization or not. So we will apply the engineering rules and regulations, that is all those protocols. And under the testing, we will apply the white box or black box testing. So there are a number of testing methodologies, procedures. So we will apply the white box versus black box testing. So again, we will at in unit number 2, we will explain such type of in unit number 4, we will explain about the white box and black box testing, because in unit number 4 there is a all testing procedures which we will study elaborately. Okay, structural and versus behavioral. Okay, so here we will check or test the structure. What is the structure of the software, and what will be the behavior of the software, which will be designed by a team of programmers. Okay, as per the specification or need of the different type of customers or a particular organization. So issues of test adequacy. So during the testing time, we will discuss about the issues of the test adequacy. Okay, whether it is sufficient or not, whether it is we are doing proper testing or not. So there are number of again rules and regulation, and a number of issues which may occur during the testing time, or the testing we can say procedure. So ultimately we will overcome all those issues. Now the testing process, here we can see. So first is called the component testing. Second one is the system testing, and final is the acceptance testing. So at component testing, here we can see we will divide our software into number of phases. Okay, so we will divide into number of units, and after that we will integrate all those units. So that is called the component testing. Here we will as we will divide our problem into several components, and at each component level we can test easily. Okay, we can manage easily all those components, and after that, after testing at the component level, we will combine all those components, and we will get finally a system. Okay, as we will integrate all those components, different components after testing, then after integration, we will get the system. Then we will apply. There are again some methods we can apply for testing of the system. So this is called the system testing. And finally, again, we will check. There are number of software testing tools. So with the help of those tools, we can test the complete system, that is the final system, which we will get after integration of different type of components. Okay, so that is called the acceptance testing. Yeah. So this is the final one, and here we can accept the product. Now there are number of testing stages. Here we can see component or unit testing. Okay, so individual components are tested independently. here our software we will break or we can say divide into number of individual components. So each component will be tested by using the number of software testing tools. So if we will test at the unit level or the we can say the component level, then it is called the component or the unit testing. So it is easy to handle. We can handle easily at each component and or we can say the different number of units we can manage easily. Okay, we can test easily. So individual components are tested independently. So we can test independently. Components may be functions. Okay, component. What are the components? Components maybe the parts of the uh, program, yeah. Or we can say the number of functions or objects or coherent group of these entities. So there are several entities. Whenever we will write any program, then a program it is nothing but a combination of number of functions or objects or different number of groups. Okay. So these functions acts as we can say as component. Okay, each function act as a component and it will depend on the programmer or we can say the testing engineer how he is going to divide mm, as per desire as per his choice so that it may be easy to test. Okay, so he will divide into number of components. Now you can see at stage number 2, system testing. So testing of the system as a whole. Here we will combine all those components, okay, or which we have already tested. We can also call this unit testing. Okay. So after testing of different components, we will combine all those components and we will get the system. So testing of the system as a whole, if we are going to test complete system or the software, then it is called the system testing. So testing of emergent properties is particularly important. Now the final one is the acceptance testing. Here testing with customer data, okay, to check that the system meets the customer needs. Okay, so here ultimately we will check here during the acceptance testing, or we can say the final testing. Here we will check whether we are fulfilling the needs of the customer or not. So we will apply the real data here. Okay, and ultimately we will check the outcomes, or we can say the output. Then if it is okay as per need, as per the customer need or the institution or organization need, then it is okay and we can finally accept that system. Okay, then it is called the, or we can say the product, the final acceptance of the product or the software. Now there are number of testing phases. Here in this block diagram, you can see there are number of testing phases. So first one here we can say the requirements specification. Okay. So whenever we are using any model, then the first stage was the requirement specification. What will be the requirement of the customer or the we can say the user or the organization. So at the initial level, first we will check the requirements specification. Okay, we will do the requirement analysis. And after that, you can see here in this case, system specification. So first is the requirements specification. After that, in this block, you can see system specification and then system design, then detailed design. Okay, and how these requirement specification and system specification has interface with the acceptance test plan. Okay, so here we will use the test plan that is called the acceptance test plan. And now you can see here from the system specification and system design, here we will integrate the system integration test plan. Okay, so after the specification, here we will combine and now in this block diagram, you can see system integration test plan. Now this is the subsystem integration test plan here. So after the system design and detailed design, we will come here module and unit code and test. Okay, so First, you can see here requirements specification. After that, system specification, then system design. Okay, and after that, here we will study about the detailed design of same software which we are going to develop. And here you can see module and unit code and test. So now after the detailed design, the testing will start. So this is called the module and unit code. Okay, module and unit code test. After that, this will the output of this will go to the subsystem integration test. Okay, so this is the component level. Here we have a number of modules, or we can say the units or components. So after testing at each component or the module level, we will move toward the subsystem. Here we are going to integrate some sort of modules or the components, or we can say the number of units here. So after combination here, we will get the subsystem. Okay, so after combining these modules, we will get here subsystem integration test. Okay, and after this, you can get the system integration test. Okay, subsystem, it is a part of system. Whenever we will break a system, so we will get number of subsystems. And again, as we will divide our subsystem, then we will get here a number of components or modules, or we can say the units. Okay, so after integration, we are getting this subsystem, and when more than one subsystem will combine, we will get the system. Okay, so system integration test. And after this, here we are going the final test, that is called the acceptance test, and after here we will get this service. Okay, so after this, there is a deployment, and after deployment, we will do some sort of service here. So this is the testing phases and criteria we can say to test the different softwares. Okay, here application softwares, maybe also the system softwares. So we can apply these phases. So quality assurance, we will whenever we are using the software techniques, we are going to develop any software by applying some software technique, then we will emphasize over the quality as well as we will check the economy of the that particular software. We will concentrate on those. We can say the over 2 points here. Now the quality assurance done as part of each step, reduce cost by catching errors early here. So the cost will, we can say, the reduce as per debugging of programs. Okay, so if we are able to remove or debug those errors, then it may reduce the cost also, and we can maintain the quality. And how we will assure regarding the quality, it must be error free. Okay, and work as per the requirement of the customer, help determine ambiguities or we can say inconsistencies. So the quality assurance, if it is okay, then this help to determine the ambiguities. If our software has some sort of problems, or we can say the errors, or we can say the inconsistencies, it is not working properly as per the requirements, then we can not assure about the quality. Okay, if we are assuring the quality, then it must be free from all type of ambiguities or inconsistencies. Help ensure quality product. Okay, so we will get the quality product, and this will ensure about the quality. Now here we can see the first requirement, then the specification, planning, design, implementation, integration, and maintenance. Okay, so now we have already seen earlier also in some preceding PPT's presentations. So the first stage here we can see requirements, and then specification, whatever the points which we will follow during the design. So what is the requirements, and then specification. So we will follow all those specification, and then here we will do the planning about the project. Okay, and the designing phase, then implementation. Okay, here we will implement and then integrate. We will do the all type of testing here during the integration phase, and then maintenance. So here we can see the maintenance phase. You can see have the peak of 200 here. It means that this phase is more costlier than the other preceding phases. So it is very difficult to maintain the system. Even though we can design or implement or integrate, we can do each and everything, but the maintenance is costly for any type of software or the system. Now this is the last phase, that is called the deployment completed and user documentation. So here before the deployment or in the phase of the deployment, we will take care of this completed and user documentation. Here we will uh, do the documentation properly, and it must be complete in all respects. Okay. So this is the, we can say, the difference between the software and the program, because a program contains a minimum number of documentation, or we can say no documentation at all during writing the program. But whenever we are going to write any software, then we will take care to insert more documentation, or we can say the rich documentation. Okay, so before deployment, we will take care of this. So along with the software, there must be proper documentation separate from developer documentation. So there is a two type of, the documentation. One is called the documentation from the developer side, and another purely for the end user. Okay, so the software which is developed by you, but it will be used by some organization, or for other users, then there must be a proper documentation so that organization or the customers can understand easily about the that particular software. And deployment, here we will also mean the installation process or processes. So it must also contain about the installation process. We must be aware how the uh, organization will install that particular type of software. Customer test procedures. So there are number of test procedures for the customer also. Support processes, help desk, etc. Each and every software have contain such type of support processes inside the software. Okay, whether it is a system software or also the application softwares. So it must have some sort of help desk, so that we can do ourselves. Okay, and can get the help from that particular software, and so that we can run properly. Okay, we can use properly, or if we will feel or face some sort of problems, then we can diagnose easily at the basic level or primary level. So trouble tracking. So there are number of other procedure or methods that will be provided with the guide, or we can say the documentation, so that we can track easily those troubles and repair or rework to address bugs, so that we can also rework if there is some problems at basic level, and we can repair all those. Regression testing. So regression, it is another type of testing procedure in which it is given as bugs are fixed. Okay, here the errors are, we can say, the fixed. Okay, so that we can debug all those fixed error. So it comes under the category of the regression testing. So this is another type of testing methods, that is called the regression testing. Besides the uh, we can say black box or the white box testing. So there are again mm, different type of points where we can use the black box testing and where we can use the white box testing. So there are some sort of particular softwares for which we can use the black box testing or the white box testing. So there are different criteria which we will adopt for the testing uh, process. Now maintenance and evaluation. Here you can see operation or change. Okay, operation provides that we can change whenever we want during the implementation of the software. Here you can see maintain software during or after user operation. So we can maintain all those softwares during or after the user operation. Okay, if the user is using the or working on a particular software, then how he will maintain that software. Now determine whether the product still functions correctly. So during the maintenance phase, even we can also check whether the product is working properly or not. So as you will do the maintenance at your end, or sometimes there is a need arise to call the software engineer from a particular good company from where you have obtained or the software deployed by that company, then there is a need arise to call that particular software engineer if we are unable to handle mm, at own level. Okay. Now the number of difficulties which we can face, that is the rigid or fragile designs, lack of documentation, personal turnover. Now here we can get some sort of problems here due to some rigid designs. The rigid design we cannot change easily. Some type of we will use the design methodologies, and lack of documentation. If it does not have some user friendly documentation, then that is called the lack of documentation. The user cannot understand easily about the software. And this is the personal turnover. If at the end, if still we are facing some sort of problems, then at the secondary level we can say we will face some problems. Okay, so these are the software which are dedicated for a particular organization. But all those big softwares, we can say the large softwares which one used by the worldwide, then during the implementation, or we can say that after the deployment, all those softwares, the any problem may arise. Okay, even though we have already tested finally, but some type of uh, due to this lack of the documentation, some problem may arise, or sometimes the it is not compatible with other machines. eh, After testing, even if it is running on some other machines, but uh, if we are changing the machines again, then the problem may come. Okay, so such type of difficulties we will face even after the use of that particular software. So software evaluation now, in this case, you can here check software is inherently flexible and can change. So software must be flexible and as per requirement you can change at the end even. Okay, as requirements change through changing business circumstances, sometimes the requirement uh, change due to the change in the business, or we can say the uh, different type of circumstances may occur. Now you can see here, due to the COVID-19, the business criteria changed, purely changed, 100% changed. So that's why um, we were using all those softwares, but they are not working properly because the requirements changed 100%. Okay, and there is again need arise to update all those type of softwares. Then we can say this also comes under this category. There is again need arise to change abruptly all such type of softwares. So earlier when we were designing, that time requirement was different, but now it changed suddenly. Okay, suddenly it changed. Then as per our need, today's need, we have to change the requirement again. So the need arises to update all type of softwares. Now, although there has been a demarcation between development and evaluation, or we can say the maintenance, this is increasingly irrelevant as fewer and fewer systems are completely new. So here we can say again it is better to develop a new software, mm, better to better than to do the maintenance. Okay, sometimes if there is a need required to change the particular software, and the changes we can say at very higher level, then it is better to change the whole software. Okay, it is very difficult to do the maintenance of such type of system, because the we can say there is a lot of uh, expenditure over the change in the software. So better we can change whole system. Now here we can say how the system evaluate the we will system evaluation. In this block diagram we can see again the basic criteria is same. First we must be aware why the system requirement, what is the system requirement, define system requirements, assess existing systems. Okay, currently what type of criteria we are using. Then as per the existing systems, again we will assess that and propose system changes. So what type of changes will be done in the system, we can propose, or the programmer will propose that modify systems. So here we will modify our system as per requirement. Okay. Now you can see here existing system we have this. Okay. We already have the existing system. Then we will assess existing system and we can proceed further. Modify system. Again, we will check the system requirements. Okay. Whether we are fulfilling all those requirements or not. And another here method you can see new system. Okay. Just define system requirement, assess existing systems. Here we can have the new system. So if we have the existing systems, we are doing a lot of work. But if we are going to develop a new system, then can easily alter. Okay, we can develop the new system easily. Or if we are doing the maintenance of any system, then there are number of stages we have to face. Then it makes it costlier than to develop the new system, and also the time taken to develop the new existing system. If we want to update that, then it is also long. Okay, because it is not so much easy to understand all the old coding. It is easy to develop the new one. To write the new program, it is easy. But to understand, first we have to study about all those codes of the old system, and after that, to develop or update that already existed system. So it is better to generate or to develop the new system. Now there are a number of we can say the debugging tools. Here we can see how do do you see what the code is really doing? So how will you check whether the code is working properly or not? Okay, not what it seems it should do. So here we will check there are a number of debugging tools. Now with the help of those tools, we can check the coding, okay, at each function level or component level. How do you see what happened to code during compiler optimization? So here during compiler optimization, as we will run our program, then we will use a number of optimization techniques, okay, during the compilation of that particular software. Then again we will check that what is happening to that code, whether we are following all those specifications or not, even after optimization of the uh, different codes, okay, at each stage. So again, here we will apply some optimization techniques to reduce the code size. Okay, why uh, here we are using the optimization technique? Because we want to reduce the requirement of the memory. So we always use optimization technique. Now, how do you find track down the cause of seg fault here? GFP in code you have never seen before. So there are a number of codes here we will study regarding mm, the debugging tools. Okay. Now how can you test various possibilities without generating the special code or recompiling? So there are several, we can say, the questions about the debugging tools. How do you track down a memory leak? So if there is a problem of the memory, then how we can track all those memory leaks? So there are here, as we will use a number of debugging tools, then we can overcome all such type of problems. Okay. Now I'm taking your attendance here. Four students only. Now please tell me any problem up to here, and hopefully it will finish tomorrow. I think tomorrow will be the last class in this unit, and along with this, I will start unit number 2 from tomorrow in software engineering. So I have already taken your attendance. Now, if you have any problem, please tell me, because only 1 minute left to close this Zoom software. Yes, Asif, Farhan, Robin, Sayyed, Yaya. So today is only one class, okay? And
Yes, sir.
hopefully I will engage good classes on tomorrow. And today I
Okay, sir.
wrote the unit number 1 of OS due to some inconvenience or some sort of problems. I was unable to upload on yesterday. So today I will try my best. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you.